Marvel's biggest heroes didn't rise alone. Many had partners, protégés, and sidekicks who once stood right beside them. Some were fan favorites, some were breakout stars, and some were meant to take over entire legacies. But somewhere along the way, Marvel pushed them aside, rewrote their futures, or abandoned them from the spotlight completely. These sidekicks didn't fail. Marvel just stopped using them. Yet their stories, powers, and potential were strong enough to matter even today. So which forgotten partners truly deserve a comeback? Here are 10 sidekicks Marvel abandoned far too soon, but deserve a comeback. At number 10, we have Toro. 1940 marked the first appearance of Toro in Human Torch issue 2, where he stepped into comics as the young partner of the Golden Age Human Torch, Jim Hammond. He arrived as a boy who could control flame, and readers connected to the way he followed his mentor with a mix of bravery and pure-hearted trust. His close bond with the Human Torch made readers enjoy watching him grow, learn, and stand beside his mentor in every battle, and that relationship kept people invested in his story. As one of the earliest teen heroes in Marvel's history, he stood out because he shared the Torch's powers and still carried the wide-eyed energy of someone who wanted to prove he belonged on the front lines. After the Second World War, comic trends shifted and Toro's adventures stopped, leaving him forgotten. A comeback could open a new chapter by showing him return as an older hero who mentors a new fire-powered successor, allowing his story to move forward in a meaningful way. At number 9, we have Free Spirit, who was introduced in 1994, and she entered Captain America's world as a young runaway who discovered strength through his example. She became his sidekick during a time when his stories carried a heavier tone, and her bright personality brought warmth into those moments. Readers connected with the way she carried hope, even when she had very little, and they followed her journey because she showed how an ordinary girl could find a place among heroes. Free Spirit was different because, while she had artificially enhanced physical abilities, she still relied on her determination and street smarts to keep up with the heavy hitters. She disappeared from comics after the series ended, and when the line changed direction, she simply did not return. Today's focus on grounded heroes makes her story meaningful once again. A comeback could open a new story by bringing her back as a mentor or as part of a modern young hero team. At number 8, we have Alpha, who was introduced in 2012, and he stepped into Spider-Man's world as a shy science student who admired Peter Parker long before he discovered the truth behind the mask. His life changed instantly when a lab accident connected to Peter gave him powerful abilities, and that sudden shift from quiet teenager to new hero made readers follow him closely. People connected with the way he tried to balance his excitement with the fear of disappointing the hero he looked up to, and his friendship with Peter carried a genuine sense of trust and hope. Alpha stood out because his powers were directly linked to Peter's scientific work, giving him a place in Spider-Man's legacy that few sidekicks ever had. He even wore a costume inspired by Peter, which made their partnership feel real. His story ended quickly after a short run, and once the line moved forward, he appeared only in brief moments. The comeback can open a new story by bringing him back as a modern partner in today's Spider-Man world. At number 7, we have Hairball, who was introduced in 1988, and he began his journey as Speedball's pet cat, who gained strange powers during the same accident that changed Robbie Baldwin. Readers were drawn to the way this ordinary tabby suddenly became a loyal partner who followed Speedball through every chaotic moment. His humor, playful energy, and fearless attitude made people care about him, and his bond with Robbie showed how deeply he valued the hero who raised him. Every appearance carried a sense of friendship, and that made him more than a simple sidekick. Hairball became unique because he was a domestic cat with enhanced intelligence and the ability to release bouncing energy bubbles. He even found a place among other animal heroes and proved he could lead a team when the pet Avengers needed him. He faded from stories once his early series ended, and he was not brought back when Marvel shifted toward larger hero arcs. The comeback can open a new story by showing him return in a fresh adventure with Speedball or the Pet Avengers. Next up, a forgotten Golden Age ally, a fallen wrestler turned hero, and a street-smart thief tied to Wakanda. At number 6, we have Washington Whitewash Jones, who was introduced in 1941, and he stepped into the Young Allies as one of the kids who stood beside Bucky Barnes during the war. He was known for his loyal friendship with Bucky and Toro, and readers connected with the way he kept pushing forward, even when life treated him unfairly. His courage felt real because he fought alongside heroes while dealing with challenges that went far beyond the battlefield. That mix of loyalty and determination made people remember him as more than just another kid in the group. Whitewash became unique through his bold personality and the grit he brought to every mission, and his harmonica became part of his identity during those wartime adventures. After the war ended, the young allies faded away, and later stories quietly removed him because of the outdated way he had originally been written. He has since appeared only in short flashbacks. The comeback can open a new story by reimagining him respectfully in a modern tale that honors his place in the young allies' legacy. At number 5, we have D-Man, who was introduced in 1987, and he entered Captain America's world as a former wrestler who carried a sincere belief that he could become a true hero. Readers saw the way he looked up to Steve Rogers and how deeply he wanted to prove that strength meant nothing without heart. His loyalty made him stand out in every story, and his friendship with Captain America showed a level of trust that felt earned through honesty and determination. People followed him because he represented someone who fought hard for a place among heroes, despite coming from an ordinary background. D-Man became unique when an experiment gave him immense strength, yet he never let that change his humility or his sense of humor. He tried to balance his new power with his simple desire to help others. His story faded after scattered appearances, and he was later written out during a major storyline without being given proper closure. The comeback can open a new story by bringing him back to reclaim his place beside modern heroes. At number 4, we have Abner Little, who was introduced in 1977, and he entered Black Panther's story as a street-smart criminal from Chicago who became an unlikely ally to T'Challa. Readers noticed the way he relied on grit and quick thinking instead of power, and his sharp humor made his moments with the Panther feel tense and entertaining at the same time. His shift from a small-time thug to someone who stood beside a king showed a side of him that wanted to survive while trying to do something better, and that path made him memorable during his brief time in the series. He became unique because he had no special abilities and carried only his instincts and weapons, yet he still managed to help T'Challa through dangerous situations. His grounded personality added a human layer to the mysteries surrounding Wakanda. After a handful of appearances, his story ended suddenly, and later he vanished from continuity after a short turn as an enemy. The comeback can open a new story by bringing him back as an older figure whose past with the Panther returns to shape modern Wakanda. A prehistoric boy bonded to a dinosaur, a survivor from a destroyed universe who carried the Bucky legacy, and a young patriot who died too soon. At number 3, we have Moon Boy, who first appeared in 1978, stepping into Marvel's world as a small prehistoric hominid who formed a deep bond with Devil Dinosaur. Readers connected with the way he followed his giant red companion through every danger with loyalty and innocence, turning their partnership into one of the most heartfelt duos of the era. Moon Boy showed courage that came not from strength, but from the trust he placed in his friend. And that simple emotional core made him stand out in every adventure they shared. He became unique because he had no powers, no advanced tools, and no modern language, yet he still managed to hold his place beside a powerful dinosaur. His world was filled with ancient threats, and his survival depended on quick thinking and his unwavering dedication to the creature he treated like family. While his dinosaur partner is now famous for starring in the hit Disney Plus cartoon with Moon Girl, the original boy who raised him remains completely abandoned by Marvel Comics. The comeback can open a new story by bringing him into the present to reclaim the friend he left behind. At number 2 is Ricky Barnes, the third Nomad, who was introduced in 1996 in Captain America Volume 2, Issue 1. She entered the story as the Bucky Barnes of an alternate reality, arriving as a fierce, high-spirited teenager who fought alongside Captain America with absolute loyalty. Readers connected with her because she was a survivor. When her entire universe was destroyed, she escaped to the main Marvel Earth, only to find a world that already had a Winter Soldier and no place for her. She stood out because she refused to be a copy, carving out her own identity as Nomad and leading the young allies to prove she belonged. Her story ended abruptly in Onslaught Unleashed, where she sacrificed herself to save the world, dying a hero's death that Marvel has largely ignored ever since. She vanished into the void of continuity while other heroes were resurrected. The comeback can open a new story by showing her return to finally meet the original Winter Soldier and reclaim her place in the legacy. At number 1, we have Jack Flag, who was introduced in 1994 in Captain America issue 434, a young man who believed in heroes so deeply that he risked everything by taking a dangerous serum to follow the path of Steve Rogers. He never matched the strength or precision of the heroes he admired, yet his determination made him stand out. Jack carried a bright sense of hope, fighting villains with nothing more than enhanced strength, a punk-styled look, and a heart that refused to break. His journey carried a quiet tragedy because the serum that empowered him also reduced his lifespan, turning every mission into a race against time. He later supported both Captain America and U.S. Agent, proving his loyalty through every conflict he faced. His story ended in tragedy when he was betrayed by the hero he looked up to, thrown from a plane by Captain America himself, and later died in a coma. A comeback now could restore his lost path and open a new story that lets him step back into the symbol he once tried so hard to become. These forgotten sidekicks still have unfinished stories. Tell us who deserves a comeback next, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.